Hello, Lisa Ditkowsky, Certified Financial Planner, 18 plus year family office and securities industry veteran, and global fertility business intelligence. First, I want to talk about a CFP Board July 10th letter that I just found today in an email address that I had told them never to use, about William J. Blythe. And they said the results of their investigation against the grievance and complaint that I filed against the CFP William J. Blythe, 71 years old, are not public. And that's all they can say. And they said that I made that complaint on May 1st, 2023. I actually made it on they said May 2nd. I made it on May 1st. There's a big difference because that was my last day at LPL Financial after 16 years and 3 months with publicly traded company LPL Financial, stock symbol LPLA. I had a wonderful 16 years at LPL Financial, but they said that I made the complaint a day after I made the complaint, but no, I was still part of LPL Financial on May 1st when I made the complaint. You want to know why they said they can't release the results of their investigation of my complaint? Because it's tied to Chicago Pritzker corruption, Governor Pritzker, and they need this sort of faux protection, the Blythes, because what better witnesses to the anti-American deep state than to have 71-year-old Irish twin brothers who, along with Chicago Public Schools, had the morgue on speed dial for 42 years. And yes, their knuckles are surely raw from those rotary phones. 3. CFP Board, August 11th letter, Friday, August 11th, from the Trademark Department, the anonymous Trademark Department. They told me I was violating using the trademark after 15 years, perfect record with the CFP Board, 18 years and 3 months, perfect record in family offices, working with disabled, Holocaust survivors, elderly, matriarchs, patriarchs, mom and pop businesses, small businesses, professional couples, all ages. After 18 years and 3 months, perfect record in the securities industry, and 15 years volunteering at the Harold Washington Public Library, many years for the CFP Board and wherever I could volunteer, they're suddenly telling me not to use the trademark because I reported the Blythe brothers for fraud and illegal activity and stealing my deceased client's legacy and hijacking it for political fundraising. So I got a letter today from the anonymous Trademark Department citing 4 places that they want me to remove the CFP trademark. They allege it's on Rocket Reach. That's a third-party website that pulls in data from the internet via artificial intelligence. I have no idea what Rocket Reach is. I've never been to the website except today to look at what you were talking about. But yeah, they want people to pay to subscribe to do profiles with them. I never put my information on Rocket Reach ever. Datalize or Datanize, some other website that's an AI aggregator website that also wants people to pay to have their information on the website. I've never even heard of that website. And if they pull in information from the World Wide Web about me, I have nothing to do with that, no control over it, and would not pay for a subscription to something I know nothing about. Thirdly, you cite one of my IVF and life sciences journalism videos from 4 years ago that was professionally done, that's been paid for, edited, uploaded from 4 years ago. I was using the trademark over the 15 years that I paid dues to use the trademark. And it's back there, but I could get you my ID card. Here, I'm going to show you guys this. This is from 2008, 2007, I took 2 extra years of coursework at Northwestern University, and I earned the accreditation. So CFP Board is saying that I can't use the trademark. That's fine. I'm not using the trademark. I can't take it off of videos that were paid for years and years, and years ago. But you said, fourth, it's on the About the Founder section of my website. That's entirely possible because that was done professionally with a third-party firm 8 years ago or so. And that's static content that has not changed in 8 years. So I told the CFP board in an email today, or the anonymous trademark email, I will qualify that stopped being used the day they stopped, that I'm no longer using the trademark. So that's fine. I will get that changed in the next 7 days. Not a problem. Thank you. So CFP, so full disclosure, by the way, Trump, Keep America Great. That was from 2020. So we made America great. And then in 2020, we were trying to keep it great. And now we're back to having to make America great. So full disclosure, Trump 2016, Trump 2020, Trump 2024. Is there any other way? No. It's a prerequisite for being a Republican, an American, or a human. Trump 2024. Let's go, Brandon. FJB. Trump 2020. Read the Federal Reserve if you want to know who the real president of the United States is. A lot of people don't know, but it is Trump, and we're watching the Biden theater. But notice that Biden has not overturned anything that Trump signed, executive orders, anything about interference with elections, about being a traitor to the United States of America. Read federalregister.gov, and you could read all the executive orders that Donald J. Trump signed, and you could see that none of them have been unsigned by Joe Biden. But nobody has the attention span to do that except for a limited amount of people. But full disclosure, you can't be a Republican without pledging your allegiance to Trump. So we have rhinos, Republicans in name only. That's what a rhino is. It's just a Republican in name only. We have rhinos on the loose in Illinois. Stephanie Trussell, full of contradictions. She did a July 31st, 32-minute Facebook video, stream of consciousness, all about how she was leaving radio and leaving politics, only to say that she was going to start a political Facebook and that she's supporting a mysterious Lake County, Illinois. That's like my neighbor's 10th district, Lake County candidate. And she's supporting a couple candidates south of the 80. And the candidates keep calling her in Arizona and all over Illinois to host fashion shows and all sorts of things. So she's putting pictures of her fast food joint, Boss Dogs, all over the place, French fries and hot dogs, and advertising that like she just wants to work at a fast food restaurant for the rest of her life, and saying she's leaving radio and leaving politics. But at the same time, she's starting a political website and saying she's going to work for 2 candidates south of 80 and 1 mysterious candidate in Lake County. Stephanie, you're a beautiful woman. You're a nice woman. You're very likable, but you're not a Republican. You need to figure out what you are, and you need to stay away from politics, and you definitely need to stay away from radio. And hot dogs, go at it, but don't say you're leaving politics and you're leaving radio and then come to Lake County and Cook County and meddle in elections when you were a big part of Darren Bailey losing his election. So, like I said, you're a beautiful woman, you're a nice woman, but you were wearing a costume your whole campaign last year to help your self-proclaimed BFFs, Jim Economos, the dentist from South Elgin and South Barrington, Mark Weimermuller from my neighborhood, and David Smith, the obese, extremist pro-lifer who, you were at his table at the Carol Swain event in Lake Geneva, Stephanie Trussell, and Carol Swain is a moderate on abortion. She was telling everybody she had an abortion and she believes in safe and rare and, clinic inspections and counseling and monitored abortions. So Dr. Carol Swain is a Republican and a Trump supporter, but she believes in safe abortions. So you were platformed, Stephanie Trussell, by this obese white man who's a pro-life extremist that nobody likes, with a not-for-profit that's completely corrupt. And then your other self-proclaimed best friends are, a dentist that I've witnessed drink 8 to 11 beers and hit on women, and Mark Weimermuller from my community, who inserts himself into everything and is a disruptor and a heckler. So these are your friends, and if you're going to stay out of Illinois politics, then please do it. Your friends speak in divisive communist terminology about abortion, guns, anti-LGBTQ, drag queens, gays, etc. Nobody who is anti-gay and anti-LGBTQ is a real Democrat or a real Republican. You are a bigot if you say you are anti-drag queens, anti-LGBTQ, anti-gays. Gays, LGBTQ, drag queens are not the problem in America. It's the problem if our schools are promoting that anybody's lifestyle should be any certain way. We should celebrate freedom and individuality. But all of you who are speaking in these communist divisive terms need to get out of politics and need to go hang out with fellow bigots, because that's what you are. Roe v. Wade was overturned. This has defaulted to individual states, and individual states will decide how to protect women who need abortions. End of story. That's not saying women should have abortions. That's just saying that on a case-by-case basis, we will protect women who must end a pregnancy for the health of the mother or for a life-saving reason. Kathy Salvi, Al Salvi. Al Salvi never paid back $1 million plus in campaign loans to his campaign. So where did that money go? He never paid it back. And Kathy Salvi, you guys are lawyers. You're funded by Richard Porter. You were part of the Irvin slate, heavily funded by Richard Porter. We reject you, Kathy Salvi and Al Salvi, as Illinois political figures. Just be lawyers and grandparents and go away. You're not speaking out in support of Donald Trump. So you're not Republicans, because look, he's got like 70% of the vote. 70% of the vote. And he is the president, and he is going to be the president. So if you can't support your country, the military, the Department of Defense, the NSA, and your president, what are you doing? Go away. Nobody wants you, Kathy Salvi and Al Salvi. You supported Richard Irvin, who supported the smart city plans with his BFFs and with Pritzker. July 2019, they did videos in Aurora about the United Nations Smart City 2030 plan. Steve Kim was working actively. This is in his bio. Steve Kim was running for Attorney General against Kwame Raoul. He was supporting the 2030 Saudi Arabia vision plan for smart cities. In those plans, they describe microchips being put into persons. World Health Organization came out with propaganda with their hot swappable social media tiles on their intranet, because I saw their intranet, which was public for a brief time. They had hot swappable social media tiles in all languages of the world saying it is not possible to microchip humans through a vaccine. Well, how else do you think they put microchips in dogs and animals and people? It's through a syringe, it's through a needle, hence it could be through a vaccine. United States of America never rejoined the World Health Organization after Trump removed us. We're not members of the World Health Organization. We're not members of the G7 summit. Only Germany attended. 6 companies in January boycotted the G7 summit in Switzerland, or World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. So Irvin was actively funding with his buddies and with their companies, Aurora Dynamic Solutions, and their different companies and entities. This was reported by the Chicago Tribune, shockingly, because it's owned by Alden Capital, a globalist PE firm. But the Chicago Tribune reported last year that Richard Irvin and his business partners were funding in Aurora Dynamic Solutions and all of their companies social credit currency systems, which would reward citizens for supporting the businesses that they were told to support, doing their recycling, doing the deeds the city wanted them to do. Their money would only be worth something if they obeyed the local government in a tyrannical way. So Richard Irvin was part of this United Nations Smart Cities plans and getting lots of funding from George Soros and from the World Economic Forum and from the Chinese Communists and through Pay for Play, Illinois Manufacturers Association arrangements to go along with this plan. So anybody who supported Richard Irvin cannot be forgiven. You took life from our children and our grandchildren and our elderly, starting in 2019 when all these machinations were playing out. For the past 4 years, you have taken life from our families, and now you want to say, oh, let's come together in solidarity. Solidarity with what? Communism? That's not going to work. So unless Richard Porter, the chair of the RNC, which means nothing, we don't need an RNC. If we don't need a Supreme Court, we don't need an RNC. Ronna McDaniel, all I know is she's some niece of Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney is a nice little rhino. So Ronna McDaniel, I don't know who you are, but you're connected to a very prominent rhino. What does that make you? Does that make you a rhino by proxy? I don't know. But Richard Porter, you're under Mitt Romney's niece. So what does that make you? Unless you come out in full support of the President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, we cannot trust you to have the interests of American families and America at heart. So unless you come out and apologize and disavow Irvin and Pritzker and come out in full support of BaileyForIllinois.com and fire Pritzker and Donald J. Trump, we cannot trust you, Richard Porter, to have any interest of any Republican National Party at heart. Colin Corbett and Keith Brin. There's been some really good podcasts and press release by Joe Severino for 10th District against Brad Schneider. Joe's a great nonpartisan, bipartisan independent who's running on the Republican ticket, who cares about all citizens. He's very much into faith, family, conservative values, America first. Joe Severino is for true Democrats of the Martin Luther King type, of the JFK type, and of the true good Democrats that we still have in the United States of America. And he's also very conservative and a Trump supporter. So Colin Corbett and Keith Brin, you guys are in bed with the Leadership Institute, which is Morton Blackwell, and they go back to the 90s with certain South American governments and installing their leaders. So you need to do your research. Richard Porter, RNC. Look into American Enterprise Institute. Dick and Lynn Cheney, that's $350 million organization who's controlling my community in the North Shore. American Enterprise Institute, $300+ million organization. And look into Morton Blackwell's The Leadership Institute, which is funding Keith Brin in Lake County and Colin Corbett. And they've been installing South American governments. We just heard that the president of Ecuador was assassinated just in the past few days. But I'm not going to tell you on this. I have the intel, but it's out there. It's public. You can find out who Colin Corbett's boss, what South American president they've installed and trained and paid for. So in America, they train leaders to lose elections. But in South America, they train leaders to win elections and then get assassinated, apparently. So the alphabet starts with Trump. And anyone who doesn't understand that doesn't know the alphabet. But it's not A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's T for Trump. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Let's see. A prerequisite to being a Republican candidate in general, and especially in Illinois, is that you stand with our President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. Otherwise, don't call yourself a Republican because we disavow you. 12. Read the federalreserve.gov. The theater will soon be ending. You pledge your allegiance to the USA, the American flag, Donald J. Trump, Cobra Tate, Top G, and try to get it. To our active duty Department of Defense, National Security Agency, and military, and honor our veterans. That is the only pledge any candidate should be signing. Nobody should be signing any pledge to anyone unless it's America First, Donald J. Trump, to support the Department of Defense, the NSA, and the military. Nothing else matters. For how can we claim to have any such thing as grassroots when America has been uprooted? We need to rebuild, not water roots. Platitudes will get us nowhere. Andrew Tate might. Elon Musk might. Donald Trump will. Bailey for Illinois. Bailey for the 12th will. Darren Bailey versus Mike Bost, he's bought. Darren Bailey will lead Illinois. Joe Severino will lead Illinois. And I love women too. Carrie Lake, Marsha Blackburn, MTG. Who else is going to step up? I welcome you, women. I love women. Step up. Please join our extraordinary men and the women who have already stepped up. Democrats, I am not going to leave you out. We love Tulsi Gabbard and welcome her to the Republican Party. I am greatly enjoying Jan Schakowsky's weekly Pans and Plans. Richard Porter, Kirkland and Ellis, do you want legitimacy as chair of the RNC under Rhino Mitt Romney's niece? Then come out in 100% full support of President Donald J. Trump and apologize to the world for your moral bankruptcy and treasonous betrayal of the Irvin slate, of us with the Irvin slate, with documented history of selling America's out to the United Nations 2030 Smart City Plan. Otherwise, man up and step down. All GOP incumbents now. Larry Smith with the wife 40 years younger than you. She looks like your granddaughter. Who else is there? Don Tracy, you look like a little wimp. I recently saw someone whispering in your ear at an event, threatening you, and you look like you saw a deer. You look like a deer in the headlights. But you guys in the Republican Party, if you're not going to support the president, Donald J. Trump, who has 70% approval rating right now and 70% of people are voting for him, then what the hell are you doing calling yourselves Republican? Get out. Step down. We do not need people like Richard Porter, Don Tracy, Jim Durkin, Larry Smith, Stephanie Trussell, Kathy and Al Salvi. All of you people ruined the elections for Illinois last year and caused this havoc, and you want to still be part of it. Shouldn't it be enough, Richard Porter, that you're the head of private equity and international mergers and acquisitions for Kirkland and Ellis? That, I mean, you have like a $6 million house. You live like the elite of the world. Shouldn't it be enough for you that you have a job that puts you in the top like 0.0001% of the world? And all of you people, you're just elitists that the Democrats love because you keep them in power for 40 years. So this is about getting rid of Joe Biden, FJB. This is about making America great again, keeping America great. We are still the greatest in the world, and we want to lift the rest of the world. But I will let you in on a little secret. I was in Copenhagen at an international conference with 130 countries or close to it, almost 12,000 people. And European Union is surpassing us in the United States because their politics is based on harmonization and building consensus and balancing individual rights and autonomy with consensus. So I like what a lot of the European Union countries are doing right now. And I actually think in science and medicine and life sciences and artificial intelligence, European Union is surging ahead of the United States. And I know this because of laws and resolutions that have been passed that Stanford and other universities are urging Americans to sign on to EU. So why Americans would we want to be left behind? There's the one man, Donald Trump, who lifted us ahead, who never engaged us in any wars, who lifted our stock market to all-time highs and made American families middle class again. And the globalists want to take that down. The dirty, corrupt Democrats want to take that down and hurt our families and set us behind. So I just want to say, in Illinois and in the world, anybody in America who cannot support Donald Trump, first and foremost, before anything else, we don't want to hear any words out of your mouth or anything you're doing. We don't care. If you don't support Donald Trump, you are nothing and you don't belong in politics. You need to go away. So thank you for listening. God bless America. God bless our families, our elderly, our children, our babies. Our kids are going back to school, and we pray that they are taken care of and not exposed to all this horror that is going to be going on in an election year, especially a federal election year. They need to be left alone, the children, to just be children and not exposed to this horror. And we need to keep it civil and unify around Donald Trump first and foremost at the state and local levels and county levels, secondary. That's the only way it's going to work. Lisa Ditkowsky, Certified Financial Planner, Global Fertility Business Intelligence. Thank you.